top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Silence from key agencies on Operation Myra. Is the car dealer being protected? And if yes, by whom? Elections of opposition leader should be delayed in light of extradition proceedings. NANDLALL. President announces $50,000 one-off cash grant for persons living with disabilities. Minor works on Bamia Primary School still ongoing. Minister MANICKCHAND says no excuses will be accepted from contractors. And in sport, ESSEQUIBO BERBICE inch closer to booking spot in the final of the women's senior inter-county tournament. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Wednesday, 3rd December 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. This is what you should know this evening. Even as Operation Project Myra continues to expose what investigators describe as one of the largest, most sophisticated vehicle fraud and duty evasion networks ever uncovered in Guyana, the Guyana Revenue Authority, the Guyana Police Force, and key sections of the government remain surprisingly and disturbingly silent. This despite repeated public declarations of being tough on corruption. Travis Chase reports.
The silence is deafening. For weeks, explosive evidence has been emerging under Operation Project Myra. Audio recordings, whistleblower testimony, tampered VIN tags, altered titles, reclassified engine, and allegations of billions in lost taxes linked to a well-connected Guyanese luxury car dealer. But while the scandal widens, the institutions charged with protecting the public purse appear mute. Nightly News understands that even as affected consumers step forward, as foreign authorities highlight cross-border criminal links, and as new revelations surface almost daily, neither the Guyana Revenue Authority nor the Guyana Police Force has issued a substantial update. Not one briefing, not one assurance, not one clear outline of a robust independent investigation. The administration, which has repeatedly declared a zero-tolerance approach to corruption, has taken no visible action in the face of what now appears to be a long-running, multi-billion-dollar tax evasion ring. The Guyana Revenue Authority, which routinely seizes small items for minor infractions, remains silent when dozens, possibly hundreds of high-value vehicles may have entered Guyana through fraud. The Guyana Police Force, which swiftly act on far lesser issues, remain tight-lipped about a scandal involving revinned vehicles, forged documentation, and possible organized criminal activity. As Operation Myra expands, foreign investigators have already taken steps. Canadian authorities have flagged suspicious exports. U.S. sources have raised questions about cross-border links as Guyanese consumers continue to come forward with tampered vehicles and mismatched documentation. Yet, here at home, the agencies responsible seem unwilling or unable to confront the issue head-on. The questions that therefore persist are, is the well-connected car dealer being protected? Is there deliberate efforts to shield powerful individuals? And most importantly, who benefits from the silence? Operation Myra has already made one thing clear. This is no minor paperwork glitch. This is a massive, deeply embedded tax evasion and vehicle fraud scheme with serious international implications. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Government may just have answered the burning question on everyone's lips. Will Azruddin Mohammed, leader of the larger political opposition in Parliament, be duly elected the substantive opposition leader? Let's find out from Marvin Cato.
Holding the post of opposition, a fugitive offender. That to me is a an issue far more important than a delay in the election of the opposition leader.
That was Attorney General Anil NANDLALL answering the burning question on everyone's lips: when will the leader of the opposition be duly appointed? NANDLALL, fumbling for words, basically said the election and swearing in of an opposition leader will happen after the conclusion of extradition proceedings involving Azharuddin Mohammed, leader of the We Invest in Nationhood Party, and also the larger political opposition in Parliament. Mohammed and his father, Nazar Mohammed, who were fighting an extradition request, were indicted in a U.S. court on 11 criminal charges ranging from wire fraud, mail fraud, and money laundering. Over the past few weeks, Azharuddin and large crowds of supporters have been peacefully picketed in front of Guyana's Parliament building in downtown Georgetown in an effort to pressure Speaker Manzoor Nadir, who is closely aligned to the governing party, the People's Progressive Party Civic, to do the right thing and convene a meeting to elect an opposition leader.
The stain and the international stigma that will attach to our parliamentary process, to the institutions of Guyana, by a fugitive offender not only sitting there but holding the post of opposition leader, is far graver and will cost us permanent damage.
Over a month ago to the day, the 65 members of Parliament took the oath of office, which signaled the commencement of the people's business in the House. Days later, calls began to mount for Speaker of the House Manzoor Nadir to immediately convene a meeting to elect the leader of the opposition. Despite these calls, the government refused to budge. Opposition voices in Forward Guyana's Amanzo Walton Desir and a Partnership for National Unity's Ganesh Maipal have added their voices to the conversation, calling on the Speaker to do what is right. The We Invest in Nationhood Party has also written to the Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carl Barnett, calling for urgent and immediate intervention on its behalf for the government to stop blocking the constitutional process and enable the election of the leader of the opposition, which has been improperly delayed for over 3 months after the September 1, 2025 elections. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
As Guyana joins the rest of the world in observing International Day of Persons with Disabilities, President Irfan Ali has announced a one-off cash grant for persons living with disabilities in Guyana. That will happen before the end of December 2025. Tiana Cole has more.
With December 3 being observed as International Day of Persons Living with Disabilities, President Irfan Ali on Wednesday announced that all persons living with disabilities in Guyana will receive a one-off $50,000 cash grant before the end of December. The head of state made the announcement while addressing a Christmas luncheon for persons with disabilities.
I am pleased to announce that I've instructed that a one-off grant of $50,000 be paid to every disabled person before the end of this month.
He explained that this initiative will provide direct support totaling $1.4 billion, benefiting more than 27,000 persons. The president further emphasized that persons living with disabilities have the right to be treated equally and with dignity.
I want us to target in the next 5 years at least 5,000 jobs dedicated to persons living with disabilities.
The head of state noted that in the coming months and years, the government will continue creating and expanding tangible opportunities for persons with disabilities, particularly through empowerment and self-fulfilling initiatives.
Our mission is to create an environment where the disabled can fully participate in all aspects of national life, pursue your dreams, and contribute meaningfully to our nation's growth.
He stressed that the government is prioritizing 8 key areas: care support, community support, education support, empowerment, transportation, health, housing, and accessibility within government services. Meanwhile, Program Manager at the Ghana Council for Organizations for Persons with Disabilities, Ganesh Singh, said the disability community has achieved a great deal and has now reached a point where persons with disabilities are viewed through a human rights lens, rather than as subjects of charity or token gestures.
Persons with disabilities are given opportunities to live dignified, independent lives. We've seen so much transformation in the disability landscape.
Tianako reporting for the HGP 93 News.
Join us after the break. We have more news for you. Welcome back. You're with the HGP Nightly News. As we continue, amid rising concerns about road safety in Guyana, the government is moving forward with plans to strengthen traffic laws, review penalties, and introduce new enforcement measures. Tiana Cole is on that story.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Annie NANDLALL has announced that the government has already signaled the need for major reforms to road traffic laws and regulations. Speaking on his weekly program, Issues in the News, the AG explained that the ongoing spate of fatal accidents and the continued misuse and negligent use of public roadways remain issues of serious concern for the administration.
These are matters that we will continuously monitor very closely and make reforms when we think that it is in the public interest to do so.
The AG added that the government will also be reviewing regulations and statutory provisions relating to motor vehicle drivers' licenses, especially for different classes of vehicles. He noted that additional offenses are also expected to be added to the list of ticketable offenses.
You'll get tickets now, e-tickets, for a larger number of offenses. And of course, harsher penalties will be imposed for speeding, among other legislative reforms.
Between 2020 and 2024, Ghana recorded 642 road deaths, including 24 children, a figure the World Bank recently described as unacceptably high. Regarding window tint regulations and following public backlash over the newly introduced $75,000 fine for illegal tinting compared to the current $7,500 penalty for speeding, one of the country's leading causes of road deaths, the AG explained that the government intends to bring consistency, uniformity, and equity to tint policies.
So all vehicles will enjoy a 35% light penetration.
He added that there will be a special waiver system for high-security vehicles, diplomats, government officials, and others approved by the minister.
This category of persons would qualify for a darker level of tint.
Tianako reporting for the HGP 93 News.
The case involving 4 of 7 persons charged in connection with the fatal explosion at the mobile gas station on Regent Street has been pushed back to December 16 as investigators await the results of overseas forensic testing. Travis Chase has more details.
When the matter was called on Wednesday before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith Magusti at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, the prosecution was expected to advance its disclosure. Instead, Prosecutor Mandel Moore told the court that key pieces of evidence remain under international examination. According to Moore, 2 additional items recovered from the blast site were dispatched to India for specialized analysis, and the prosecution cannot proceed until those findings are returned. He requested more time to complete the disclosure package, and the court agreed to the delay. The adjournment affects the 4 accused charged jointly for the October 26, 2025 blast. Venezuelan national Daniel Alexander Ramirez Podero, who investigators believe orchestrated the attack, and also includes Alexander Betancourt, Johnny Budram, and Crystal LaCruz. The explosion, which ripped through the Regent and King Streets fuel station, claimed the life of a 6-year-old girl and triggered a national outcry over the apparent planning and execution of the attack. Once all evidence has been handed over, the matter is expected to move to a paper committal, where a magistrate reviews written statements and exhibits to determine whether the case should proceed to the High Court for trial. Meanwhile, the other 3 accused, Guyanese nationals Wayne Correa, Ramesh Pramdeo, and Jennifer Rodriguez, face related but separate charges being heard in their respective districts. Their case is scheduled to return to court on December 17. Investigators maintain that all 7 accused were part of a coordinated effort that led to one of the deadliest incidents in the capital city in recent years. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
More than 100 entrepreneurs and managers participated in a workshop to clarify 2026 priorities and set specific targets for revenue, profit, team development, and personal growth. Antonio Day has more.
Over 100 entrepreneurs and managers participated in a workshop to clarify 2026 priorities and set specific targets for revenue, profit, team development, and personal growth. The workshop was organized by Action Coach Ghana in collaboration with the World Trade Center Georgetown, Bamia Bank Limited, and the Institute of Private Enterprise Development, IPED. Wesley Curtin, Executive Director of the World Trade Center Georgetown, in emphasizing the importance of ambition and preparation, noted that the workshop is aimed at providing earnest support for business owners looking to thrive in Ghana's growing economy.
Entrepreneurs like yourselves are the engines of every strong economy. And today, you're stepping into that role with a sense of purpose.
He encouraged participants to embrace coaching, networking, and developing high-performance habits.
But the real power lies within you. Your ideas, your determination, your courage to keep going even when the odds feel heavy. Coaching will help you unlock that power and use it with intention.
Dr. Vishnu Durga, Business Master Coach of Action Coach Ghana, guided attendees through planning tools such as goal setting and aligning team effort, which aligns with daily actions with long-term vision. Farnas Hussain, Branch Manager of Bamia Bank, highlighted efforts to make financing more accessible, noting features like competitive interest rates and rapid loan processing.
For home loans, we offer a very low interest rate of 5% per annum up to $30 million. And there might be persons that are locked into higher interest rates.
Robert Williams, Business Development and Marketing Manager of IPED, discussed the introduction of new invoice financing to enhance cash flow for small and medium-sized enterprises.
Invoice financing facility that you can access between $20 to $35 million based on your contract with whatsoever company. Non-collateralized, because 80% of what we do is trusting the individual, understanding their business ID.
Participants also heard from Jason Bashkram, CEO of JSB Group, who shared his success story for scaling his business with the help of structured coaching. He underscored the value of accountability and building a strong team. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
We'll be back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You with the HGP Nightly News. After years of delays, the Ministry of Local Government has taken the stance of not taking over the new Bamia Primary School in Region 10 until it is 100% completed. Antonio Day has that story.
Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, MANICKCHAND, revealed that contractors are still finishing minor works on the $364 million facility initially awarded to Statement Investment Inc. back in 2021. The subject minister noted that the government cannot afford to continue along this road.
Contractors there have not finished what they're supposed to do. There's some very minor works left to be done, but we refuse to take a building for the sake of taking a building or a compound or a project so that we could get photographs if we're not completely satisfied that the contractual obligations of the contractors are carried out.
Minister MANICKCHAND, during an interview with veteran journalist and radio personality Gordon Mosley, expressed disappointment at the stalled project.
If you bid for a project, you came and said that you could do this at this cost, in this time, at this quality, and you have to do it. Yeah, I'm very disappointed in how long they took.
Yeah. The project has faced repeated setbacks, including material shortages, rising costs, and labor gaps, forcing government to grant extensions well past original deadline. There was the hope that the school would open for the start of the new academic year in September, with contractors giving full assurance that the school will be completed. That did not materialize. The minister said that she's holding them to their word, since the project is long overdue. Since taking office in September, Minister MANICKCHAND noted that she has held multiple meetings with Statement Investment Inc. to fast-track the project. She noted that while these contractors too are eager to leave the site, urgency will not replace accountability. Antonio D reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The curtain came down on Tourism Awareness Month celebrations with the Ghana Tourism Awards and Gala on Tuesday night. Marvin Cato reports.
If the entire tourism sector taxes, we'll put 1% of our net revenue to marketing. And then say to the government, you match it with 4%, so we get 5%. I signed the deal now.
That was President Irfan Ali, the featured speaker at the Tourism Awards and Gala Tuesday evening, encouraging those in the tourism sector to think big and bold, and the government would take the bold step with them.
One of the most impactful experience is a safari ride in the open top vehicles.
President Ali reminded those gathered that it is time to change the approach so that tangible success can be achieved. The president has committed to pump resources into the sector.
Guyana recently recorded an 18% increase in visitor arrival for the first 7 months of this year as compared to the same period last year.
Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce Susan Rodriguez, in her address, highlighted the fact that tourists' arrivals is showing an upward trend. Hence, investments in the attractive tourism products would only grow the sector at a faster rate.
By 2030, we intend to welcome 3 million transiting passengers through our ports of entry and to attract at least 1 million visitors annually.
Rodriguez highlighted what her ministry was able to accomplish and the bold plans she expects to implement over the coming years to achieve set tourism targets. Several tourism stakeholders were recognized for their excellence and commitment to developing the robust tourism sector. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Regional News. Cuba has confirmed the deaths of 33 people from mosquito-borne illnesses in recent months, in an epidemic that has hit at least 1/3 of the population, according to official reports. The Deputy Minister of Health, Carolina Pina, said 12 people have died of dengue and 21 of chikungunya, the two viruses circulating widely across the Caribbean island nation. At least 21 of those who died were under the age of 18, Pina said. The minister did not specify a date range for the deaths. The deaths and still raging epidemic are more bad news for Cuba, whose healthcare system is already facing existential struggles due to a grueling economic crisis that has prompted widespread shortages of food, fuel, and medicine. Dengue fever has long plagued Cuba, but has grown worse as a shortage of funds and fuel hampers the government's ability to fumigate, clean roadsides, trash, and patch leaky pipes. Chikungunya, once rare on the island, has also spread quickly in recent months. There is no specific treatment for chikungunya, which is spread primarily by the Aedes mosquito species, also a carrier of dengue and Zika. Chikungunya causes severe headache, rashes, and joint pain that can linger months after infection, causing long-term disability, though it is rarely fatal. Organized crime in the Caribbean is being fueled by arms trafficking that can be traced largely to a handful of areas in the U.S. states of Florida and Georgia. A study by Geneva-based Small Arms Survey has found U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has ramped up efforts against drug cartels, from classifying gangs as terrorist organizations to bombing alleged drug trafficking boats off the coast of Venezuela. The Small Arms Survey, an independent research project whose findings are used by international governments and United Nations bodies, found that between 2015 and 2024, 7 in 10 firearms that could be traced from 6 Caribbean nations came from Florida and Georgia. Its analysis spanned the Bahamas, Barbados, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago. Some 30% of all firearms seized in those countries and successfully traced to the U.S. were bought from dealers in Miami-Dade and Broward. The report also looked at seizures by U.S. Customs officials, finding that 78% of the Caribbean-bound illegal arms shipments were detected in ports around Florida cities of Tampa and Miami and Atlantic Georgia. U.S. President Donald Trump and Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva discussed the trade, economy, and fighting organized crime in a phone call on Tuesday, both sides said. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said the two men also discussed sanctions, an apparent reference to his administration's targeting of Brazil's judiciary over the criminal case of right-wing former President Jair Bolsonaro. Trump said he and Lula had a great talk. Brazil's presidential palace said in a statement that Lula thanked Trump for his decision to remove additional tariffs on U.S. imports of Brazilian goods, including coffee and beef, and added that Brazil seeks to progress on talks about products still affected by the levies. Trump last month removed the 40% tariffs on several Brazilian food products, which also included cocoa and fruits, that he had announced in July to punish Brazil over the prosecution of former President Bolsonaro, a Trump ally. During the 40-minute call on Tuesday, which the Brazilian presidential palace called very productive, Lula also stressed the urgency of strengthening cooperation with the United States to fight international organized crime, according to its statement. Lula and Trump agreed to speak again soon, the statement said. Thank you for watching. I am Tiana Cole.
Let's now join Delvin Neblet for HGP's Sports Pulse.
Good evening, Guyana. I'm Delvin Neblet with your HGP TV Sports Pulse for today, Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. We begin tonight with football. Guyana's senior women's football team suffered a 3-1 loss to Nicaragua in their CONCACAF qualifier fixture at the National Track and Field Center in Lenora on Monday. Sheila Flores, Nuria Marquez, and Doriana Aguilar each scored once for Nicaragua, as Annalisa Vincent scored once for the Lady Jags in a losing effort. Guyana's next match in the CONCACAF qualifiers will be against Dominica on February 27, 2026. Moving into hockey, action concluded over the weekend in the 2025 Diamond Mineral Water Hockey Festival at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall in Georgetown. Saints Hockey Club secured victory in the women's open category, while the Pepsi Hikers were victorious in the men's open category. The Hikers also secured victory in the over 40 category, while Trinidad and Tobago Masters prevailed in the over 50 category. Into chess, action concluded in the Guyana Chess Federation IC-sponsored Grand Prix 2 tournament at the School of the Nations in Georgetown on Sunday. FIDE Master Roll Alicock secured victory in the open category over Anthony Drayton in second and Karan Sandiford in third. On the women's side, woman candidate Master Aditi Joshi secured victory over CL Clement in second and woman candidate Master Sasha Sharif in third. Moving into cricket, action continued in the 2025 One Guyana Women's Senior Inter-County Tournament with two fixtures on the east coast of Demerara on Tuesday. At the LBI Community Centre ground, Team Demerara exited the competition after suffering a 4-wicket loss to BERBICE. Batting first after being sent in, Demerara bowled out for 72 in 36.2 overs as Plafiana Millington was sensational with the ball, finishing with 5 for 11 from 10 overs. Tilia Madramutu top scored for Demerara with a measured 18 from 64 as no other batter got into double figures. When BERBICE responded, they reached 73 for 6 as the captain Shanetta Grimman top scored with 24 from 20 and player of the match Plafiana Millington remained unbeaten on 21 from 40. Demerara captain Casey Schultz bowled a superb spell and finished with remarkable figures of 6 for 30 from 7 overs in a losing effort. Over at the losing non-community centre ground, the Hinterland All-Stars also exited the competition after suffering an 8-wicket loss to ESSEQUIBO. Batting first, Hinterland were bowled out for just 50 as only the captain Kelsey Couchman with 10 from 28 got into double figures. Kumar Prasad was destructive for ESSEQUIBO, picking up 4 for 14 as Tremaine Marks also bowled well to pick up 3 for 14. When ESSEQUIBO responded, they reached 51 for 2 as player of the match Kumari Prasad top scored with 17 from 19. Tiffany LaRose and Fiona Benjamin each picked up 1 wicket in a losing effort. The final match of the 2025 One Guyana Senior Women's Intercounty Tournament is scheduled for Thursday, December 4th, with ESSEQUIBO taking on BERBICE at the LBI Community Centre ground on the east coast of Demerara. Finally, in cricket, the West Indies under-19 boys secured a dominant 5-2 victory in their Youth ODI series against England after a 51-run victory in the 7th and final match at the Grenada National Stadium in St. George's on Monday. Winning the toss and batting first, the Windies were bowled out for 213 in 44.1 overs. Arsenio Fontaine top scored with 39 from 85 as Tyreek Bryan added 36 from 46, and Guyana's rising star Shamar Apple played well for an explosive 31 from 26. Alex French was the pick of the bowlers for England, taking 3 for 21. When England responded, they were bowled out for just 154 in 44.1 overs. Caleb Falconer top scored with 52 from 69 as both Adian Rasha and Micah McKenzie picked up 4 wickets for the Windies under-19 in a winning effort. That's it for this edition of the HGP TV Sports Pulse. I'm Delwyn Neblet reminding you to stay in the game.
Silence from key agencies on Operation Myra. Is the car dealer being protected? If yes, by whom? Elections of opposition leaders should be delayed in light of extradition proceedings. NANDLALL. President announces $50,000 one-off cash grant for persons living with disabilities. Minor works in Bamia Primary School still ongoing. Minister MANICKCHAND says no excuses will be accepted from contractors. And in sport, ESSEQUIBO BERBICE inch closer to booking spot in the final of the Women's Senior Intercounty Tournament. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA Grant. Thanks for watching.